Okay, so here we are again looking at another fine reel. I want to talk a little bit about something that's very affordable now and pretty easy to come by. These reels, this is a Jigmaster, this is a Penn Jigmaster 500. This one is made in USA, and believe it or not, it's still easy to find them made in USA. This one's actually not that old. I don't know how old it is, but you can tell by the type of handle that's on it, the box and stuff. Like I said, I don't know the date, but it's not super old. This is probably, I don't know, early 2000s, late 90s maybe, just a guess. But it is made in USA. This is just before they started making them in China. And you can still get this reel. It's made in China, brand new. From what I've seen, there's not a whole lot of difference. I'm sure there's some differences. They say that some of the parts are cheaper, and I believe it, especially the handle. The Chinese models, I noticed they have sort of a different color to the metal, sort of like it was just stamped out of some cheap steel. They say they're really prone to bending in and out, the handles are. This one, this is a good sturdy handle, and you can tell just the finish on it and everything. It's more, you'll see some steels that are more malleable, and some steels that are just, the heat treat is different, so you get more of a spring effect. This one falls over, it's going to spring right back to where it was. I use this one on the surf mostly because that's most of the fishing that I do. I put it on a 12-foot Penn Prevail. Yeah, Penn Prevail. I've got 30-pound mono on it. And to start with, it was difficult to cast. I thought, this might be more than I can handle from the surf. And it is a big reel. It holds 275 yards of 30-pound mono. It's got some size and weight to it. But if you do what I've done, it's manageable. And what I did, you don't ever want to tighten your spindle tension here down to where it's just, you're using that for a break really. It's best to use your thumb for a break on the edge of the spool. You have a lot of, purchase area over here to get your thumb on. Don't do the line because that'll burn you. But if you can get your thumb over here on the spool, just the edge of it, you can thumb it down nice. And that's not the only way though. I'll show you something I've done inside here. These are so easy to maintenance, it's unbelievable. There's no bearings in this reel whatsoever. So salt water, not a problem. So I gotta pull it out a little bit. It's one screw, you loosen this one screw, and then you just simply turn the side plate like that. And those little bumps right there, they just index inside the rim of the frame. There's the gears, the bridge plate, all of that. It's a very simple operation and so easy to maintain. It's just unbelievable. It's a shame that they sent these overseas. It's a shame that they sent any of them overseas to be made. It really is. Just a disgrace to the United States, to be honest. But wow, these were made so well. They probably still are, minus a little bit because it is made in China. But wow, these things are just amazing. Everything that needs to be metal is metal, and everything that doesn't need to be metal is plastic or Bakelite. I don't really know what that is. I've used it, I've filled it full of sand. It's no problem. This thing just eats it, keeps on trucking. But you can see what I've done. I've taken some epoxy and I've set 2 rare earth magnets right inside there. And I think those are 12 mil by 3 mil magnets. That's how you would size them. And this actually, because this side plate is so close to the spool, the inside of the spool, it does actually create an eddy current, and that's what you call static mag. So it slows it down enough to where I can actually I have no problem controlling it with my thumb. Now, originally, without those magnets in there, it was almost impossible. I almost could not control it with my thumb. Well, you just want to be careful and make sure you don't get your mags too close to your clicker spring here, because then the clicker spring won't work. And I almost did that. This clicker is very tight, which I kind of like that, the way it turned out, because when you're fishing in a heavy surf, you don't have to worry about your line getting pulled out unless you actually have a decent fish on there. So, yeah. Well, wow, these things are just amazing for that purpose. I would say that from a boat, even better, you know, if you're not having to cast long distances. Yeah, and this reel, I got it on eBay, believe it or not, for $25 and some change, plus shipping. Came with old papers, the wrench, the rod clamp. And these actually, this is new enough that it came with the carbon drags. Let's see, where does it say that? HT100 Star Drag. But I've actually gone inside this reel, put Cal's drag grease on the drags, and it is for sure carbon drag. Let's see. Gear ratio is 4:1, and that's plenty quick. I mean, it's very quick. It'll get, you know, your lead up off the floor and back in a hurry. Of course, you have to guide the line on with your thumb. No problem at all when you're dealing with 30-pound mono. Even 20-pound mono, it's a piece of cake. It's just easy to run your thumb back and forth. Then you don't have to worry about that worm gear getting sand in it and destroying it. But yeah, it holds 275 yards of 30-pound mono. And it is a beast. Very easy to carry. There's no instant anti-reverse. This just has an anti-reverse dog in it. So even less to go wrong there. Very good for sandy conditions. And here's what it looks like inside. That's the bridge plate, the gear, the main gear, the pinion gear. And you can see, I mean, really, these things are almost indestructible. I mean, they are absolutely amazing. You can oil it without taking it apart if you need to, but it's so easy to take it apart. I mean, wow. You know, but you can take a needle oiler and you don't even have to take this thing apart. Put the needle in, the nut right there, give it a little shot of oil, and wow. So, yeah, they're still available. You can find them on eBay for, you know, if somebody like, you know, it was just a blessing that I got this one at only $25. I mean, they do go for more than that. And also you can get the older ones. You'll notice the older ones have the torpedo shaped handles instead of this rubber handle. That shows you that's a new one, right? Or a newer one. But yeah, the torpedo shaped handle ones, you can, the only downside to the older ones, you don't have the HT100 carbon drags, and that is an easy upgrade. So, you know, don't let that keep you from buying one. I mean, matter of fact, the older one might be better. Who knows? I've seen some of them that have what appears to be a stainless steel bridge plate. You know, these are brass, which that's fine. Actually, every bit of that's fine. No problem at all. I mean, it'll just winch in anything I ever catch from the beach or anywhere else. Oh, yeah, I mean, these things, and the way the pinion gear indexes with the spindle here is absolute bomb proof. You don't have to worry about that being, you know, a failing point, a weak point. Everything, like I said, everything that needs to be metal is metal. Everything that doesn't need to be, which is very little, pretty much just the side plates and the handle is plastic or rubber. Other than that, it's all metal. And even the clicker cog here, I guess that's what you call that. But anyway, yeah, that's all metal. Spool's aluminum, anodized aluminum. And pretty sure this frame is brass. I know it is. It's actually brass because you can see inside the threads here in the screw hole. This is all brass, chromed brass. Oh. Yeah, and if you know, I don't know how long it would take, probably 100 years or so, for one to wear out the little, what Penn calls bearings, is actually these little end caps. And there's no bearing in there. They call it a bearing, but it's not a bearing. It's just a end cap. It would be, better to call it a bushing, if anything. And the spool, the end of the spindle rides inside that. So I keep that well lubed. I put grease in it, a good, actually what do I use? I use this right here, Super Lube, excellent grease for any reel. I mean, this is amazing stuff. It's saltwater resistant. It's perfect for reels. But yeah, I keep it thick in there because, and I don't even worry about oiling it. I just pack it full of grease. It doesn't need oil. Not this reel, and it'll get you plenty of distance. You're still going to get those 75, 80 yard casts, no problem. And I mean, absolute bomb proof. The perfect reel to take if you just don't want any problems. It really is. The only thing you have to watch is down here, these base plates, they can bend, in and out like that. If it's hit really hard, like let's say you drop the reel like this and step on the rod, or, I've seen them bent. This one's perfect, but I've seen them bent. I don't know how people do that, but I'm sure it would take some significant force to do so. But even if you did, there's there's a whole market of parts out there for these things that turn them into a whole new beast. Trying to think of the companies. Of course, I won't be able to think of them now. But if you Google Penn Jigmaster 500, parts or anything like that, you're probably going to come up with a whole line of parts for enhancing these things. I mean, you can even get the whole frames, you can get different bars, you can get base plates that are machined aluminum, way more rigid. You can even buy, I mean, it's endless. Really, you can just go nuts with it. But these things are awesome. I mean, I don't know if you can get much. Well, actually, you can get better. I mean, if you're serious surf caster and you want something that's truly bomb proof, go get yourself a U.S.A. line. But if that's not your flavor, this right here, I like this because it looks old school. It is old school. It's really fun. It's fun to use different fishing equipment for different applications, and even the same application. I like using different equipment occasionally. So yeah, you got different equipment that might even be better suited, but it might not be quite as fun to use. So, this here is a lot of fun, the old Jigmaster. I'd like to get my hands on it'll probably be my next purchase actually. I'd like to get my hands on a squidder, a Penn squidder. And those do have bearings. You still have the one screw takedown system. It's a smaller reel with, I want to say, a 3-to-1 gear ratio, something like that. So a little lower gear ratio. It's a smaller reel, more suitable for surf casting. And I think it would be a lot of fun to use one. Oh, and I was going to say too, like these gears, you pretty much can't destroy this reel. The aftermarket parts available for this, even custom parts, are too numerous to mention. You can even get stainless steel gear sets for them. You can get stainless steel bridge plates. Even the little cam, you can get that in stainless steel. You can get all of this in stainless steel. I forget what you call this, the eccentric, I think. But anyway, you can get that in stainless steel. Unbelievable. The stainless steel bridge plate comes with a stainless steel post, and then you can get a stainless steel sleeve, stainless steel main gear. So, you know, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, it's there. But anyway, just wanted to show you what's, you know, this is another option I think a lot of people overlook because there's a lot of them available on eBay most of the time, and they're relatively inexpensive. And it's kind of hard to believe. But I think a lot of people just, you know, if it's not, unfortunately, at the tackle shop or Walmart, then you're probably not gonna, you know, I mean, if it's not something commonly used, I would say, and a lot of people is just not gonna see it unless we make videos like this and kind of bring attention to it. So that's just something else to try. Add to your arsenal. You know, you might not like it, but I almost didn't until I put these mags in there, and that made it castable. That made it something I could use because I don't really fish from a boat. And I do long distance casting. I love long distance casting. And this made it manageable. You could even put a mono mag in there if you wanted to, where you could adjust it. But I don't know. You wouldn't have a whole lot of adjustability. You wouldn't have a whole lot. Because these side plates are ultra close to that spool. I mean, I even tried to stack 2 of these 3mm magnets, and that's not going to happen. So, you know, I might get a something like a 2mm or a 1mm by 12mm and stick to these sometime just to try that, or maybe one of them. Just stick it on one of them just to increase that mag power. Because once you have these in here, you know, that they're glued in, they're not going anywhere. If you wanted to stick another rare earth magnet on top of that, you could. And I actually tried to do that with one of these, but because it was 3mm thick, it actually rubbed the spool. So that was a no-go. But I just thought about it now. If I went with a 1mm, 2mm by 12mm, totally possible. And that'd give me a little more braking power without having to add a whole nother 12mm. And I'd be adjustable too, because I could remove those if I needed to, depending on the condition. So yeah, that's an option. You can also get these, the Jigmaster. Occasionally, you'll see one pop up on eBay, the 505HS, which is basically the Jigmaster. You'll see another, I guess you call it, I don't know, beauty ring or protective ring that goes on the outside right here. That's one characteristic that sets it apart. But the main thing that sets it apart from just a regular Jigmaster is the fact that it has bearings in the end caps. So that might even be something to consider if you were looking for maximum distance. But these, you know, the bearings present another problem, salt water. If it gets in there, you know, you're going to be breaking those down and cleaning those bearings. Where this bad boy here, you know, you can drown it in salt water, pull it right back out, and keep on going. No problem. Give it a good fresh water rinse when you get home, throw some grease in it, and you're good to go. And yeah, if you have any issues, I mean, they're so easy to take apart, it's unbelievable. You just do this right here, drop spool in. Slide it back on like this. It'll fall in. You got to pull this single screw here, spring loaded, and it'll index on you. It'll want to jump in. You just twist around clockwise, and get your screw, line back up with the hole in the frame. Sometimes it'll go past just a little bit, and I want to back it up just a fuzz, just enough to where that screw is not going across thread. We don't want that. So back it up just a little bit, get it nice and straight, and it'll fall right into those threads and go home. And there we are, we're set up, good to go. Back in business. Super smooth. This thing's amazingly smooth. It's absolutely bomb-proof. The drag pressure is incredible too, with a light, just a very light coating of Cal's drag grease and clicker. Oh wow, I gotta like a drag that a little bit. Unbelievable. Big fish reel. I mean, this will take down anything just about that I would ever catch. Something to consider though, if you're looking for a good surf reel or you're looking for a good boat reel, these things will definitely do it. And you definitely get your money's worth. Try to go made in USA if you can. If you can't, I don't know, I'd try the Chinese model if this one ever went down on me, you know. I'm still alive when it does. Then I might try Chinese model. Anyway, hope you enjoyed watching this video and it helps you make any decisions on possible purchase of a Jigmaster. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.